Hello, my girlfriend said. If you're sick, stay home. Don't ruin my vacation with friends, I replied. Okay. Then I froze her cards. An hour later she called me, but I ignored it. That day her whole family showed up at my doorstep. I'm 29M. My girlfriend is 27F. We've been together a little over 2 years, living together for the last 8 months. No kids. No shared lease, important detail, apparently. Up until last week, I thought we were solid. Not perfect, but stable enough that I wasn't constantly bracing for impact. She's always been sharp, blunt. Some people would say confident. Others would say entitled. I usually told myself she was just honest, and that honesty sometimes comes with rough edges. This all started the night before her girls' trip. She was flying out at 6 a.m. to spend 4 days at a beach resort with her friends. I was supposed to drop her at the airport and hold down the apartment while she posted stories about self-care and overpriced cocktails. The problem was I woke up that night with a fever, chills, the whole deal. Not dramatic sick, can't stand upright sick. I told her while she was packing. She didn't even look up from her suitcase. Just sighed and said, "If you're sick, stay home. Don't ruin my vacation." I laughed at first, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. "I'm serious," she said. "I'm not babysitting you, and I'm not changing plans because you can't handle a cold." I told her I might have COVID or the flu. She rolled her eyes. "You're always dramatic when you're sick." I asked if she was at least concerned. That's when she said the sentence that flipped something in my head. "This trip is important to me. I'm not sacrificing it because you're inconvenient." Inconvenient. I stared at her for a second and just said, "Okay." She smiled, relieved. Kissed my cheek like she'd won something. "See? I knew you'd be reasonable." She left the next morning without another word, dragging her suitcase out while I sat on the couch sweating through a blanket. About an hour after her plane landed, my phone started buzzing. That was the moment I decided I was done being reasonable. I didn't do anything dramatic at first. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I lay there on the couch with a thermometer under my tongue, watching the little numbers climb while my phone kept lighting up with her Instagram stories. Airport mirror selfies, mimosas at 8 a.m., captions about finally unplugging. Unplugging from me, apparently. About an hour after her flight landed, I got a notification from my bank app. A charge. Then another. Resort deposit. Group dinner reservation. Some overpriced swimwear boutique near the hotel. Normally, I wouldn't have noticed. I make decent money. I've always handled the shared expenses, groceries, utilities, random emergencies, because she was between better-paying jobs for most of our relationship. At some point, my card became the default. Her card existed mostly as a backup. Lying there sweating, throat on fire, something clicked. I opened the app, scrolled through the transactions. Thousands of dollars, already planned out for a trip she'd just told me not to ruin with my illness. I remembered her exact words, "Don't ruin my vacation." So I didn't. I froze the cards. All of them. The ones in my name that she had saved. Took maybe 30 seconds. Then I put my phone down and went back to sleep. When I woke up, I had 5 missed calls. All from her. I ignored them. Then came the texts. "Hey, my card isn't working. Did you change something? This isn't funny. Call me now." I didn't respond. Around noon, there was a knock at my door. I thought it was the delivery guy. I'd ordered soup earlier. Instead, I opened the door to find her older sister, her mom, and her dad standing in the hallway like some kind of intervention squad. Her mom crossed her arms and said, "We need to talk about what you did to our daughter." That's when I realized my quiet little "okay" had turned into something much bigger. They didn't even wait for an invitation. Her mom stepped inside first, scanning the apartment like she was already disappointed. Her dad stayed near the door, arms crossed. Her sister, who's always acted like my girlfriend's unofficial manager, went straight for the kitchen table and sat down. "You embarrassed her," her sister said immediately. No hello. No concern about me being sick. "She's stranded." I blinked. "She's at a resort." Her mom scoffed. "Without access to money." "I didn't take her money," I said. I froze mine. Her dad finally spoke. "Why would you do that to her?" I thought about the fever, the chills, the way she didn't even ask if I needed anything, the way she kissed my cheek like I was a chore she'd checked off. "Because she told me not to ruin her vacation," I said calmly. "So I didn't." Her sister leaned forward. "That's petty. You're punishing her." "No," I replied. "I'm respecting boundaries. She didn't want to deal with me being sick. I don't want to deal with funding her fun." Her mom shook her head. "That's not how relationships work." I laughed, which immediately made my head spin. Funny, Because that's exactly how ours has worked for a while. They all talked at once after that. About partnership. About responsibility. About how stressed she was. How she was crying. How her friends were judging her because her cards kept declining. Not one of them asked how I was feeling. Finally, her dad said, "She said you refused to help her." I looked at him and said, "She refused me first." That shut the room up. Her phone started buzzing on the table, FaceTime this time. Her sister grabbed it and turned the screen toward me without asking. My girlfriend's face filled the screen. Sunglasses on. Lip gloss perfect. Beach behind her. "What the hell is wrong with you?" she snapped. "Fix this. Right now." I stared at her for a long moment. Then I said, "No." And for the first time since I'd met her, she looked genuinely confused. Her confusion didn't last long. It turned into anger fast. "You're being abusive," she said into the phone, voice raised just enough that I knew her friends could hear. "You're controlling me with money." I glanced at her family standing in my living room. Her sister nodded along like this was a script they'd rehearsed. "I'm not controlling you," I said evenly. "I'm opting out." Her mom jumped in. "You don't get to just opt out when things are inconvenient." I almost laughed at that. "That's interesting," I said, rubbing my temples, "because that's exactly what your daughter did." My girlfriend snapped back. "I was going on a trip I already planned. You were sick. What was I supposed to do?" "Care?" I asked. "Ask how I was doing? Maybe not call me inconvenient?" Silence on the phone. Not guilt, processing. Like she was recalculating the argument. Her sister crossed her arms. "You're ruining her relationships. Her friends are pissed. This makes her look bad." That was it. That was the real issue. I didn't realize my role was to manage her image, I said. I thought I was her boyfriend. On the screen, my girlfriend scoffed. "Don't act like you're some victim. You always hold money over my head." "That's funny," I replied. "Because you've never had a problem spending it." Her dad cleared his throat. "Son, relationships aren't transactional." "Agreed," I said. "Which is why I stopped treating this one like a sponsorship." Her face twisted. "So what? You're just abandoning me." I looked at her, really looked. Perfect hair, ocean breeze, not a single sign she'd lost sleep over me being sick. "You abandoned me first," I said quietly. "I'm just catching up." She stared at the screen like she didn't recognize me anymore. Her mom stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You need to unfreeze those cards. Today." I shook my head. "No." "Then what happens?" her sister asked. I shrugged. "She figures it out." Like I did. The call ended abruptly. She hung up. The apartment went quiet. Her family stood there, stunned, not because I was cruel, but because I wasn't folding. That's when her dad said something unexpected. "You sure you want to end things this way?" I swallowed, fever still buzzing in my bones. "I'm not ending it," I said. "I'm just finally done carrying it." And for the first time all day, no one argued back. After they left, the apartment felt strangely calm. No shouting. No slammed doors. Just the hum of the fridge and my phone buzzing on the coffee table like it was alive. I didn't pick it up. I already knew what it would be. More demands, more outrage, more people telling me how I'd failed her. I took some meds, drank water, and went back to bed. An hour later, the buzzing stopped. That's when the panic phase kicked in. She texted instead of calling this time. "Okay, can we talk like adults? This got out of hand. My friends are stressed and I look insane." There it was again. Not "I'm worried about you." Not "I'm sorry." Just optics. I replied with one sentence. "I'm sick. I'm resting. Figure it out." She didn't like that. "So you're really doing this? You're seriously going to let me suffer to make a point?" I stared at the screen, fever haze clearing just enough for something cold and sharp to settle in. "You told me not to ruin your vacation," I typed. "I'm respecting that." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "You're being cruel," she wrote. "My friends think you're psycho." I almost laughed. 2 years of covering bills, fixing problems, smoothing her moods. And this was the moment I became the villain. By evening, she was blowing up my phone again. Voice notes this time. Her tone had changed. Less anger. More desperation. "They're all annoyed," she said. "No one wants to cover for me anymore. One of the girls had to pay for dinner, and she's pissed. Just unfreeze the cards and we'll talk when I get back." We'll talk when I get back. Like this was just a glitch in service. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and did something I'd never seriously done before. I listed out everything I paid for. Rent, utilities, groceries, subscriptions, emergency expenses, trips she couldn't afford right now. Seeing it all in one place felt sobering. This wasn't a partnership. It was a dependency dressed up as love. That night, she posted a story. Beach sunset. Caption: when the universe tests you. I closed the app. Because for the first time, the universe wasn't testing me. I was testing whether I was finally willing to stop being used. The next morning, I woke up to silence. No calls. No texts. No angry voice notes. Just a single notification from my bank app confirming the card freeze was still active. I felt better physically, fever down, head clearer, but mentally, something had shifted overnight. Then the messages started again. Different tone this time. Okay, I get it. You're mad. But you didn't have to involve my family. I almost replied to that one. Almost. The irony was impressive. By midday, I got a text from one of her friends. Not her, a friend. Hey, this is awkward. But do you know when the cards will be working again? We're trying to check out of the spa. That's when it fully hit me. She hadn't told them the truth. She hadn't said, I treated my boyfriend like an inconvenience while he was sick, and he finally snapped. She'd framed it like a banking error. A misunderstanding. Something temporary. I didn't answer. Instead, I got up, showered, and for the first time in months, did something purely for myself. Made a decent meal, opened the windows, let the apartment breathe. I realized how tense I'd been living. Always one minor inconvenience away from her snapping at me. Late afternoon, she finally called again. I let it ring twice, then answered. Her voice cracked immediately. Can you please just fix this? I'll pay you back. That was new. With what? I asked. Silence. I didn't mean it like that, she said quickly. I didn't think you'd actually do this. I said okay, I replied. You took that as permission. I took it as clarity. She started crying. Not loud. Controlled. The kind meant to soften someone up. I was stressed, she said. You know how I get. I didn't mean you were inconvenient. But you said it, I replied. And you left anyway. I thought you'd understand, she whispered. That sentence broke whatever sympathy I had left. I understand perfectly now, I said. That's the problem. She begged. Promised things would change. Said she'd come home early if I just fixed the cards. I looked around the apartment, the quiet, the space, the lack of tension, and realized something important. I didn't want her to come home. I'm not freezing them to punish you, I said calmly. I'm freezing them because I'm done being your safety net. She inhaled sharply. So what does that mean for us? I closed my eyes. It means, I said, you're about to experience the vacation you asked for, without me. She didn't respond. The call ended shortly after. And for the first time since she left, I felt something close to peace. By day 3, the story she'd been telling herself started collapsing. Her calls stopped completely. Not because things were better, but because she'd run out of people willing to spot her. I found that out through an unexpected source, her cousin. He texted me that evening. Hey man, I don't want to be in the middle of this, but she's asking family to Venmo her. What's going on? That message sat heavy. She'd gone from beachfront cocktails to borrowing money in less than 72 hours. I didn't reply. Later that night, she finally texted again. No anger. No guilt tripping. Just stripped down honesty. I'm embarrassed. I didn't think it would get this bad. I stared at the screen, thinking about the way she'd dismissed me when I was sick. How easily she told me to stay home so I wouldn't ruin her fun. It didn't seem bad when I was the one dealing with it. I typed back. She didn't respond right away. When she did, it was frantic. My parents are furious. My friends are annoyed. Everyone thinks I'm irresponsible. I almost felt bad, almost. But then she followed it up with, you could fix all of this with one call. There it was. Still seeing me as the solution, not the partner she'd wronged. I put my phone face down. An hour later, there was another knock at my door. This time, it wasn't her parents. It was her aunt and uncle. Her aunt sighed the moment I opened the door. We're not here to yell, she said. We're here to understand. I let them in, sat across from them while they asked careful questions. I told them everything, what she said, how she left, how she'd reacted when I didn't immediately clean up the mess. Her uncle nodded slowly. She's always assumed someone would catch her. I didn't argue. Before they left, her aunt said something that stuck with me. You know, she said gently, if you unfreeze those cards now, she'll never learn this lesson. I didn't respond, because for the first time, her family wasn't asking me to save her. They were asking me to let her face herself. And that told me exactly how bad things had gotten. The next morning, she finally came home. No warning. No text. I heard the key in the lock while I was making coffee, and for a second my body reacted before my brain did. Muscle memory, I guess. Then she walked in, and the illusion broke immediately. She looked wrecked. Not dramatic wrecked. Real wrecked. No makeup. Hair pulled into a sloppy knot. Sunburn peeling on her shoulders. The kind of tired that comes from humiliation, not lack of sleep. She dropped her suitcase in the hallway and just stood there, staring at me like she wasn't sure what version of me she was going to get. "So," she said quietly, "you really did this." I didn't answer right away. I finished pouring my coffee, set the mug down, and sat across from her at the table. "You told me to stay home," I said. "You told me not to ruin your vacation." I listened. Her eyes filled instantly. "I didn't think you'd actually cut me off." "That's the problem," I replied. "You never think I'll stop." She snapped back fast. "You could have just talked to me." "I tried," I said. "You were packing." She laughed bitterly. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? Having my card decline in front of everyone?" I nodded. "Do you have any idea how humiliating it is to be told you're inconvenient when you're sick?" She looked away. "I was stressed," she muttered. "I didn't mean it." "But you said it," I replied. "And then you left." She leaned forward, voice shaking. I panicked. Everything fell apart. My friends were mad. My parents were furious. No one wanted to help me because they all assumed you would. I let that sit between us. Finally, she whispered, "I need you." That sentence used to work on me. Now it just sounded heavy. "I don't want to be needed like that anymore," I said calmly. "I want to be chosen." She stared at me, tears running freely now. "So what, this is it? You're just done?" I looked at the woman I'd supported, defended, financed, and excused for 2 years. "I don't know yet," I said honestly. "But I do know I can't go back to how things were." She reached for my hand. I pulled it back, and that's when she realized this wasn't about money anymore. It was about whether I was still willing to stay. The days after she came home were tense in a quiet, suffocating way. No yelling, no accusations. Just two people moving around the same space like strangers who knew too much about each other. She tried to act normal at first, cooking dinner, asking about my day, sitting a little too close on the couch. Every move felt rehearsed, like she was following a script titled How to Get Things Back to How They Were. But how they were was gone. She kept bringing up the vacation in pieces, testing different angles. One night it was anger. "You humiliated me," she snapped. "My friends still won't let it go." Another night it was guilt. "I know I messed up. I was selfish. I didn't think." Then bargaining. "If I pay you back for everything, can we just reset?" That one almost made me laugh. "I don't want repayment," I said. "I wanted respect." She didn't know what to do with that answer. A few days later, she admitted the rest. How the trip fell apart. How her friends stopped inviting her to things once the money issue came up. How one of them outright told her, "You really messed up with him." She said that part quietly. "I thought dating you meant security," she said one night, staring at the floor. "I didn't realize I was treating you like infrastructure." That word stuck. Infrastructure doesn't get thanked. It just gets noticed when it fails. "I don't want to be the thing that only matters when it's gone," I said. She nodded, crying again. "I'll change." But here's the truth I didn't say out loud yet. Change that comes from fear of consequences doesn't last. I had already started imagining my life without her, not in anger, not in revenge, just in relief. Fewer eggshells, fewer expectations, no more being punished for being human. That's when I realized something important. Even if she never said that sentence again, I would always remember how easily she said it the first time. And once you see yourself clearly in someone else's eyes, you can't unsee it. The last decision was already forming. She just didn't know it yet. I ended it the following morning. No speech, no argument, no list of grievances. I waited until she finished her coffee and said, calmly, "I don't want to do this anymore." She froze. "You're still mad about the trip?" "No," I said. "I'm clear about the relationship." She laughed nervously. "So that's it? Over one comment and some money?" I shook my head. "Over how easy it was for you to discard me when I was inconvenient. Over how shocked you were that I didn't keep rescuing you." Her face crumpled. Real panic this time. "I'll do better," she said quickly. "I swear. I won't talk to you like that again." I didn't realize. "That's the problem," I interrupted gently. "You didn't realize because you didn't have to. Someone always caught you." She started crying hard then, apologizing, saying she loved me, saying she was scared to lose me, saying she needed me. I listened. I didn't interrupt. And when she finally stopped, I said the truth. "I don't want to be needed like that anymore." That broke something in her. She asked where she was supposed to go. I told her she had family, friends, options, things she was so sure of when she left for that trip. I unfroze the cards later that day, not for her comfort, but because I was done using money as a boundary. The real boundary was me leaving. She moved out that weekend. The last thing she said to me was, "I didn't think you'd actually walk away." And I realized that summed up our entire relationship. She never thought I would stop absorbing the damage. I'm on my own now. Health's better. Apartment's quiet. Bank account's calmer. And for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of being sick, tired, or inconvenient, because no one here treats me like a problem to manage. If someone tells you not to ruin their happiness with your humanity, believe them. Then decide whether that's really where you belong. Bye-bye.